All right, I'm Joe Truschelli. I'm the Republican candidate for state representative in the 12th Plymouth, which encompasses all of Kingston, Duxbury, Halifax, all of Plimpton, parts of Plymouth, and parts of Middleborough. What got me into this race? Well, this started long before the race actually started for me. My commitment to public service has been the 10 years that I've served our country, the United States Air Force. And the times I went overseas, I fought for our freedoms there. I've taken those same principles and I want to apply them here in Massachusetts. This race actually started for me about a year ago. It started with my wife, Lee, who just stepped out a second ago with the two boys, my son Joey, and myself at the time. We've since added our second son Tommy, who's out there. And what spurred us to run? Well, the direction of Massachusetts as a whole. We've taken a turn for the worse in Massachusetts, and we need to get back on track. We need to hold Beacon Hill legislators accountable for the actions. And I think over the last year, we all know the examples that we've seen up on Beacon Hill of elected officials who've stuck money in their bra, for instance, and taken backroom deals. And it's time we stand up and we say enough is enough. We've had enough of the corruption and the same business as usual mentality. It's time to break the status quo. I'm asking for your vote on November 2nd because I'm going to go up to Beacon Hill with a clear slate as a new face, a fresh voice, and I'm going to go up there and I'm going to represent you as a citizen legislator. What I've been, I've been a citizen of the state since I was born. I've never been out of the state as a resident anywhere else. And I want to see my son's generation and their children's generations stay here, because this is where we need to set our flag and say we're gonna do it. And I want to thank you all for coming tonight. I want to thank you for hosting this. This morning. Sorry, my clock is off here. I want to thank you for coming out this morning. It's great to have a turnout anywhere you go, and when people listen to you and people are concerned, and rightfully so. Again, thank you. I want your vote on November 2nd.
District, Mr. Tom Calter.
Joe, thank you for your service. We do appreciate that. And I thank you for the name of your newborn, Tommy. It's a beautiful name. Hey, folks, it's always great to be here. Every time I come into this building, I feel welcome, and today is no different. We are in a tough race right now. We're in tough times. But what's really important right now is that we get past the campaign slogans, we get past the sound bites, we get past all of the stuff that gets people riled up, and we get into the details. Because details are what matter. These are serious times. These are difficult times. Where my opponent and I differ is I believe the best of our days are ahead of us. I believe that the most difficult times are behind us. And they're behind us because we've done the right things to lead. And we've made the right changes. And we've made the courageous changes. My opponent is not running against Beacon Hill. And he's not running against somebody that wears a bra. He's running against me. And I ask that you vote on November 2nd based upon my record, which you all know about. People in Kingston are very informed. They don't take sound bites. They don't vote for campaign slogans. They vote for substance. They know about ethics reform. You know about pension reform and education reform and transportation reform. You know my name, and I know your name. We've gone through a lot together. I've worked hard for you. You stood on the sidewalk for me. We've got a relationship that I am so grateful for. We've become friends, and that's what public service is about. I want to use the rest of my time to talk about Terry Murray, because I'm a fourth-year rep. Fourth-year reps are not supposed to have much influence. And when you come to me with your difficulties, when you come to me with your problems, when you want me to change things up at Beacon Hill, the first person I go to is Terry Murray. No one cares about her constituents more than this woman, and nobody knows about the problems and the solutions in this state better than Terry Murray. We make up the Kingston delegation. We're a team. We're a great team. We do great things together, and I'm so proud to serve with her, and I'm so proud to serve you, and I ask you to go vote on November 2nd. Thank you.
Well, that's a great question. And Beacon Hill, in general, has one thing against it. It's supermajority. And unless we have an elected, bipartisan Beacon Hill, we're going to allow business as usual. And no offense to you, Tom. I do know you voted for it. And I do know what you have voted for, and I do know what you have voted against. And I know that 90% of the time, you have voted with your own party. And, we need someone who's going to go up there and say, I'm going to be a voice of reason. I'm going to go up there as a concerned taxpayer, as a concerned father, and someone who's going to see my tax dollars and everyone else's tax dollars go towards services. And I see every year that local aid is cut. And it's the first thing on the chopping block every single year. 1 minute. And what I'm going to go up to do is I'm going up to Beacon Hill for reform. I'm going up there because we have a broken pension system and right now we have a $2 billion structural deficit that we need to straighten out. And I think the best way we can do that is through a bipartisan effort of new voices that are going to go up and actually, express bipartisan efforts. And that's been a tone since day one, is we need a balanced Beacon Hill. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, John, and thank you for that, Joe. Balanced Beacon Hill. I don't know if that suggests we need more Democrats or more Republicans. I'm not sure I know what that means. I do know that we need more people of character. People from both sides of the aisle that will vote their conscience and vote for what's right, not just vote with their political ideology. Joe points out that I voted 90% of the time with the Democratic Party. It's the Democratic Party that in the last 2 years led the way on pension reform, ethics reform, transportation reform, education reform, healthcare reform, quarry reform. I don't think there's a person in this room that would have voted against those reforms. And I was proud to stand with the Senate President as we led the way on those things. In terms of balance, it also takes character. It takes the strength to vote against your party when you don't agree with what they're doing. Just for the record, the Republican caucus in the Massachusetts legislature has voted together 99% of the time. 99% of the time. I stood against my own speaker. I was one of the 7 that voted against Speaker DeMacy. My party wasn't happy with it. I voted against the temporary appointment for Ted Kennedy because I thought it was bad government. My party wasn't happy with it. I've stood alone a lot, and I want to keep reminding my opponent as we went to Monday night, he's not running against Beacon Hill. He's running against me. And I'm willing to be judged on my record, anytime, any place, at any time.
Well, rent control in mobile home parks, and this goes into the whole 40B issue, the question on the ballot, I'm assuming, correct? If I can ask if that's pertaining to part of that at all. Well, with rent control, I do, I believe you're part of the rent control board now?
Yes, sir.
In Kingston. Well, this is an issue that he has dealt with on the town level. And, I personally, when I look at affordable housing and rent control, I look at what we need as reform. And we do need it in general, and that's part of the reason why the question is on the ballot. 40B itself has limited what is and isn't considered affordable housing and what the price of the housing is. And now, when you look at where we're going with rent control, I think that we need to look at what is defined by rent, or well, not rent, sorry. We need to look at consider affordable housing. And I think we've done ourselves a disservice by excluding portions, trailer park homes and all these other mobile home parks. I think we need to move that towards affordable housing. Thank you.
As I said previously, these issues are complex. It requires a lot of research, a lot of analysis, a lot of study. As we get beyond the campaign and into the final 2 weeks, I'm going to continue to encourage my young opponent to focus on substance and not sound bites. He will find out that 40B has nothing to do with manufactured homes. The initiatives are mutually exclusive. He'll find out that this is not a trailer park. It's a mobile home park. It's a manufactured home park. He'll find out that rent control is what allows us to make sure that you're not exploited by owners, or that no manufactured homes in Kingston, Coniford Green included, are not exploited by an owner. And that an owner can come before the rent control board, present their financials, and ask for a reasonable increase, and we'll consider it based upon the data. The information, the data always matters. The developer, the owner did come before us, and we rejected it because their financials did not justify an increase. And that's why I remain on the rent control board.